The giant has woken up, and how? For the last few years, as its competitors kept launching electric cars, Mahindra silently kept working on its EV program. After revealing 5 SUVs that will be launched over the next 4 years as part of its Born Electric strategy, the automaker has unveiled the XUV400, a car that in its concept form was first seen at the Auto Expo 2020. While the actual launch is still some time away, we got to spend some time with the upcoming electric compact SUV.
Compared to the XUV300, the face of the XUV400 is quite different. There you have engines, so you need a grille. Here that's not the case. So the company has taken its liberties in giving you a nice looking face on the car. You look at these arrow patterns with a satin copper finish, look nice. Same finish on the Twin Peaks logo as well. Satin copper on the bumper, on the profile, on the rear, on the roof as well. It's everywhere. So Mahindra is trying to use this color to give the electric car a different identity. Then you look at the nice looking slim LED projector headlamps with familiar looking DRLs add to the overall sporty appeal of the car. Come to the profile, you get more sporty appeal on the XUV400. The big circular wheel arches look good and sporty. They gel well with these nice looking 16-inch alloy wheels. This, by the way, has a charging socket inside from where you can charge the car. You come further down and then you see body cladding as well as satin copper finish I spoke about. You have roof rails as well, and overall this car is much longer than the 300. So total length is 4,200 millimeters, wheelbase 2,600 millimeters. That only guarantees more space inside the cabin. We'll come to that in a bit.
Yes, the car does look big and imposing. In fact, it's also bigger than some of the compact electric SUVs that are on sale in the Indian market right now. Looking at the silhouette, you just get an impression that the XUV300 has grown considerably. On the rear, the highlight are the new LED tail lamps, which also help in differentiating this car from the 300. In all, there are 5 color options and we got to sample the Galaxy Grey. All the colors can be chosen with the satin copper roof or in monotone.
The cabin somewhat reminds you of the XUV300, though the colors used here are different. So you get an all black theme on the dash and on the seats, which look quite sporty and add to the sporty feel of the vehicle. Satin copper is used inside cabin as well on a lot of places. So on the AC vents you see it, on the buttons below the touchscreen, on the climate controls as well, on the gear lever, on the Twin Peaks logo, on the steering wheel as well. So again, generous use of satin copper here. The cluster is part analog, part digital, somewhat similar to the 300, but instead of the RPM meter, you get a different meter which gives you some idea of economy and how you're driving the car. So if it needs a power boost or if the batteries are charging, that status you can see on this meter. Then you have the 8-inch touchscreen system similar to the 300. It is compatible with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, though they are wired, not wireless. You also get BlueSense plus connected car technique here, which gives you access to more than 60 connected car features, many of which you can also control through a remote location. So that's nice. Overall, ergonomically, this cabin hasn't been bad before, so that continues here on this car as well. Good storage options both on the front row as well as on the second row.
However, it seems Mahindra did miss a trick by not making this cabin less dated and more feature-rich. The modern day consumer may not really approve of a relatively smaller screen as well as the absence of a full digital cluster. On the upside, presence of a sunroof makes the cabin feel airier, and the increased length has certainly resulted in a more spacious second row when compared to other electric compact SUVs. What's missing here are AC vents and a 3-point seat belt for the middle passenger, though you do get a center armrest. The second row gets the option of a 60-40 split to offer more practicality. Another advantage of the increased length of this car is the higher boot space. The XUV400 gets 378 liters of luggage space, and if measured till the roof, it stands at 418 liters. After driving the XUV700 here a year ago, we were back at the Mahindra SUV proving track on the outskirts of Chennai to sample the XUV400. This track offered a mix of highway and city driving as well as a high-speed track with banking on either ends.
Now let's begin with the numbers. The XUV400 runs on a 39.4 kWh lithium-ion battery pack. Now it may not sound too big in size, but the numbers here are quite impressive. It gives you a maximum power of 147 bhp and a peak torque figure of 310 Newton meters. That of course is the all-important number of range. Mahindra says the ARAI tested figure on this particular car is 456 kilometers. That's the maximum limit to which this car can go on a single charge.
Now this number is higher than the Nexon EV Max, which runs 437 kilometers on a single charge, but a little lower than MG ZS EV, which runs for 461 kilometers on one charge.
Then you have different levels of REGEN on this car. You have driving modes right below the touchscreen. You can press a button and change them. They are called Fun, Fast and Fearless. So different levels of REGEN depending on how much range is left in the car, how much more response you want from the setup. You can change these modes and have more fun. So Fun in fact is a little more subtle, and Fearless is the one you can actually have the most amount of fun on this car. And then you have another mode which is called the lively mode. So here the switch of the lever, you put this car in L mode and then single pedal driving gets activated on the XUV400. So running short of range, you have to cover a slightly higher distance, you can switch to this mode. The performance will be rather low, but you will be ensured of a higher range on this car. The interesting thing is that as you switch between these modes, the character of the car completely changes. So you switch from fun to fast or fast to fearless especially, you can feel that the setup is responding in a very different way. It becomes more enthusiastic, and this does not depend on the inputs that you're giving. Inputs remain the same, but you can see that the car runs faster, it feels lighter, it feels more energetic. So you of course will have more fun and maximum fun driving in the fearless mode in this car. But as I said, that will also ensure that your batteries get drained faster when you're driving in this particular mode.
Mahindra says apart from REGEN levels, change in driving modes tunes the response of steering as well as throttle.
Now we all know the best part about electric cars, right? You get all the torque right from the beginning. So at 25 RPM only, you're getting all the torque of 310 Newton meters. And here on the high speed test track of MSPT is where you enjoy this car the most, because the acceleration is really fast. So you hit 60 kilometers per hour in just 4 seconds. 100 kilometers per hour in around 8.3 seconds. So this car is quick. So you get that fast initial acceleration that you really like. You need an empty road for that, and we got that today.
According to Mahindra, the inertia of the battery should not amplify the vibrations coming from the road. Thankfully, this is a cabin where exterior disturbances are largely controlled from coming in, be it unwanted sounds or vibrations.
Now on to the ride quality, and Mahindra says that the rear suspension has not been changed when you compare it to the XUV300, though the floor has been significantly modified because of the batteries. So overall you get a good combination of ride and handling, because even in the 300 there were not really any complaints about the ride quality, and that's the case on the 400 as well. And though this is a tall car, but it is wide as well, and that aids in somewhat decent handling that you get on the XUV400. So you don't really get thrown around in this vehicle, and you get a fairly confident drive by driving it even on high speeds.
The SUV gets a ground clearance of 190 mm, which will enable it to tackle bad roads easily. Talking about safety, just like the 300, even the 400 gets as many as 6 airbags. The car also gets disc brakes on all 4 wheels. Mahindra says extensive use of high-strength steel has made its structure crash compliant. Now we know that the XUV300 is one of the safest cars in India when it comes to crash test ratings, and it will be interesting to see how this electric SUV fares in that department. The car also gets IP67 rated ingress protection for motor and battery pack.
Another important thing is of course the charging time. So using an AC charger 7.2 kilowatt, you can charge this car fully in around 6.5 hours. But if you use a 16 ampere normal socket that you use in your house, the charging could take up to 13 hours on the XUV400. And then of course you also have the fast charge option. So you're using a 50 kilowatt DC fast charger, you can do from 0 to 80% charge in approximately 50 minutes. That's a good number if you're looking to add some range to your car quickly.
The launch of the XUV400 is still a few months away. Mahindra says the car will be launched in January next year and deliveries will begin later that month.
Looking at the prices of its main rivals like the MG ZS EV and Tata Nexon EV Max, the XUV400 could be launched at starting price of 18 lakh rupees ex-showroom.
An aggressive price tag will certainly help in overcoming some negatives like a cabin that feels neither modern nor feature-rich. But there's enough and more that works for the 400, including its dynamics as well as design. If the range stays true, the latest XUV could be in for a long, successful haul in the Indian EV space.